Scott Pilgrim is my favorite movie of all time, and the anime was an awesome addition to the Pilgrim multiverse, with awesome Easter eggs and references to the film and comics. I just reread and rewatched everything in the Scott Pilgrim franchise. So here are 69 Easter eggs I noticed. Also, just to be clear, there are a lot of similar themes, so I only really included them if they had some kind of special difference. Right off rip, you can see 2 holes in the moon, from when Todd made a hole for Ramona and Envy when he was dating each of them respectively. Episode 1's title, Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, is the name of the first comic, and we're gonna see it again later. All the episodes except 8 are named after video games. The text is modeled after Super Mario Bros. More a general reference, but Sex Bob-omb is a reference to the bob-ombs in Mario which detonate after becoming active. Basically, sex explosion.
Wallace! Amazon.ca, what's the website for that?
Amazon.ca.
Instead of delivering packages for Amazon, Ramona delivers DVDs for Netflix, which is how Netflix started out before the streaming services. It's a little nod to Scott Pilgrim now being made through Netflix. This one might be a bit of a stretch, but the 2 different versions of Sonic, a goofy and a serious one, played by the same actor, could be foreshadowing towards there being 2 different Scotts. In the comic, Scott says, maybe we can get into that in a later volume. In the movie, he doesn't say anything, because there is no next movie.
My last job was a long story filled with sighs.
But in the anime,
Well, my last job is a really long story filled with sighs. Maybe we can get into it in a later episode.
Ramona's tea is sleepy time, which is a nod towards this really famous line.
What kind of tea do you want?
There's more than one kind?
We have blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, sleepy time, green tea with lemon and honey, liver disaster, ginger with honey, ginger without honey, vanilla almond, white truffle, blueberry chamomile, vanilla walnut, constant comment, and Earl Grey.
Did you make some of those up?
In Ramona's room, there is a troll doll and a pink octopus plushie, which could be a reference to these toys that went viral on TikTok. If you look carefully, you can see the robot in the crowd before he's introduced.
Dude, this thing claims I have mail.
It's amazing what we can do with computers these days.
Dude, now I'm reading it.
In the movie, Matthew Patel sends Scott an email. In the comic, he sends him an email and a letter. In the anime, he also does both, but Scott doesn't even open the email.
I think I need the name of a hot guy.
Scott and Matthew fight as if they are 2D scrollers, like Street Fighter. The style is used again in episode 2 when Matthew fights Gideon. Episode 2 is a reference to Street Fighter. Knives' funeral outfit is the black Sex Bob-omb shirt she has in the movie.
Won't just be Knives wearing Sex Bomb shirts. It'll be the cool kids too.
The twins' robot design is the same as the comic, it's just their first iteration before they start building stronger ones to fight Scott. They mention Matthew is a drama student. He later goes on to star in his own play. In the movies and comics, this is insinuated by his showmanship and singing.
If you want to fight me.
Episode 3 is modeled after Bubble Bobble. In Young Neil's room, we can find Leonardo, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a Fight Club poster, maybe Winnie the Pooh, a Scream poster, and a Mario box. We can't really see this poster in the anime, but in the comics, it is clearly Neko Case, an artist Brian O'Malley listened to while making the comics. Roxy is singing the hamster dance when she leaves. Episode 4 is Skate or Die, which is very appropriate considering how he dies in the movie. These lines by Lucas Lee's agent,
"This town's on the verge of saying, see you later, boy,"
is a reference to Avril Lavigne's famous alt rock song. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are a comedic duo that often work with Edgar Wright. The 3 movies that they're heavily associated with are Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, known as the Cornetto's trilogy. Edgar Wright directed those and is the director of the original Scott Pilgrim movie, which is why in the anime it is directed by Edgar Wrong. We're at a recording studio, so there are lots of references to movies like Little Shop of Horrors, Jurassic Park, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, Alien, King Ghidorah from Godzilla, E.T., and Jaws. Lucas skates through a scene from the end of Evangelion where Rey's giant face is crumbling. While this isn't really a reference, I'm not sure how many people realize that the ninjas turn into cockroaches in the scene. Episode 5 is modeled after Mega Man. Nelson Franklin, who plays Commu in the movies, and Weird Al Yankovic voice the documentary they are filming. Young Neil is wearing a Cronenberg for President t-shirt. Grabinski, one of the writers, is a big fan of Cronenberg and includes references in his works. The P-Bar makes its triumphant return. Episode 6 is modeled after Pac-Man. In the intro, Lucas Lee and Gideon play Guitar Hero. Ramona gets a Metal Gear Solid ! And so does Knives later on.
Wait!
Bread makes you think.
Bread makes you fall.
Bread ain't all that.
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Episode 7 is modeled after Too Fast, Too Furious. The whole episode is chock full of Nintendo references since Wallace's husband works at Nintendo. To start, here is a Pikachu tail, a Mario cactus, GameCubes as lampshades. This is a Game Boy Color, and the combo is Shoryuken from Street Fighter 2. This is a Virtual Boy. Scott sees himself punch Roxy in the boob, like the movies.
You punched a girl in the boob?
Punched me in the boob.
The song Older Scott and the twins sing is the Bubblegum Crisis opening, Konya wa Hurricane.
Konya wa hurricane, anata ni hurricane.
Scott and Ramona see a minion. On the robot's head are the stickers Peace Nuts.
These nuts.
While delivering packages, older Ramona looks like the main character from Death Stranding. Young Neil's autobiography looks like Steve Jobs. Older Ramona mentions she uses parts from an old DeLorean and that she needs to travel 88 miles per hour to access the past.
They're made out of parts from an old DeLorean. When I hit 88 miles per hour, I travel through time. I don't know what that is in kilometers.
This is a reference to Back to the Future, which used a converted DeLorean and reaching that speed to function as a time machine. Episode 8 is modeled after Clash at Demon Head. Matthew's play is named Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Musical.
Bread ain't all that. Bread makes you fat.
Older Scott looks like Ryu from Street Fighter. The AK field, anti-kiss field, is a reference to the AT field from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Older Scott grabs Gideon in a Star Wars choke. During the final battle with Older Scott, the sub-boss theme from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game starts playing.
It's time to chow down.
Knives says it's time to chow down, like in the comics and movies.
Get ready to chow down.
You punched the highlights out of her hair.
He punched the highlights out of her hair.
The friendship shield that they use is the same as what they use against Matthew Patel in the comics. Scott needs to tie his shoelace like in the movies. Back at the play, there are cameos from lots of comic book characters like Joseph, Steven Still's boyfriend, Lisa Miller, one of Scott's friends from middle school, and Mobile, Wallace's boyfriend. Scott Pilgrim ends with the song Scott Pilgrim by the band The Plum Tree. Thanks for watching the video. I'm pretty sure there must have been something that you didn't notice, and if I missed anything, please just let me know in the comments. I'd be really curious to see what it is. I'll be doing some more Scott Pilgrim content soon, including playing the game and maybe doing some deep dives. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.